As I said, I studied painting, and for me, very interesting subject when I studied painting was human body. Explored it a lot, found out that I'm more interested in the process than I am interested in the visualizations of human body. I very much enjoyed the observations, how the gestures are, and it became about the process of painting. In this case, it's a series of monotypes where you take away paint color from clay. So you're actually digging out a figure, an object, and it's almost like sculpting, but in two dimensions. And this was a break point in my finding out what I like about human body, and that is, as cynical as this may seem, for me this is an amazing symbol of ability to understand and control human body, having the ability to use that information to make the maximum out of it. Then I became, of course, later involved in industrial design, and this fascination with process and understanding of natural processes or industrial processes became the key factor in my career. This was one of the first things that I made. It was a gigantic beeswax amphora made in a big mold out of 10 layers of different types of beeswax. And I found that it was not as successful as the other idea that I had, which was making that object already in a place where the material comes from, and the beeswax, in this case, comes from honeybees. So what I did, and that's the relationship with Arnold Schwarzenegger, trying to understand the natural process of the material. So in this case, trying to understand the process of formation of beeswax. And I studied bees for a long time, together with beekeepers. And I knew about bees as much as you do at this point, that they make honey and that they make these kind of things. And found a way at a certain point after half a year how to force them, how to manipulate them without harming them to make objects in the forms that I want, not the way that they would naturally do. So it became a form of intervention in a natural process. In this case, also in not only in the form, but also in pigmentation, because the natural color of beeswax is yellow. It's pigmented by flowers, and so I introduced the red pigment, and it worked. Then I wanted to see how far you can get in terms of size and complexity of a form. So this was another object installation that I worked on. Tried to lure the bees, to invite them to build nothing else but the human figure, or the skin of the human figure, where they build the cells and put the honey in it. This is a very nice detail, and this is the complete installation with the clean room unit, the hanging cabinet. Another project that I did was using paper. I glued hundreds of layers of paper on top of each other and gave them to a wood turner, and the wood turner turned it into these paper vases. But the idea was that every single sheet of paper contained identical image, identical print, and when the vase was turned, the image showed on the individual layers of paper as tiny pixels. It was a beautiful kind of ghost-like image, and I found it very interesting because the ornamentation was inherent in the material. It was not the surface treatment, it was through and through. So no matter what form the vase would have, the image would appear. And then there was a follow-up of this paper explorations where I made this a huge surface area that consisted of 22,000 strips of newspaper paper, and they were pressed together vertically. So imagine this is a very thick book, and it's placed vertically instead of horizontally, so you could open the pages if you pressed really hard. But the sensation and the whole kind of poetic experience was that it was unexpected, and it felt more like a fabric, but once you opened it, there was this sort of surprise effect. But for me, this was kind of playing with possibilities and playing with perception, playing with sensations and exploring new materials. I started using welding as a building method. In this case, I used a machine that slowly rotates. I used it just as a base semi-robotic system where I used only welding equipment. While it was still wet, we applied black Indian ink on it, and we polished the center with carnauba wax, which is the hardest natural wax there is. It's used also in the automobile industry, and it created another dimension to how you perceive reflection in a very or notoriously banal material such as plaster is. Kind of like a Polaroid effect, where images that were, or objects that were really close to the mirror appeared very sharp, and the further you went, the more blurred, the more it looked like an old painting when you stand far away, but the closer you got, it looked like a perfect reflection. And that was all based on my sort of trying to combine painting and design and sculpture in one piece.